What's happening here?
Well, I was kidnapped.
Hi there.
What? Hi?
They go by the Rollercoast Gang, and I was right. There was more than 2 of them, and who knows how many more.
We've got a few questions for you, in case you couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell who was the leader. They seemed to take charge at different points.
Are you guys with the organization?
Okay, you know
What
what?
are you
Let's start
talking
there.
about?
What organization?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I couldn't tell if they were telling the truth, or if they were lying and trying to see what all I knew, which to be honest wasn't much. All I knew is that Casper had rambled on about the organization earlier, and with the timing of their appearance, I thought maybe it could have been related. But then they hit me with this question.
I've never heard of that. What I have heard of is the Ablocalypse, and I need you to ask you, what do you know about the Ablocalypse?
At the time of the question, I had no idea what that was. But what followed is where things started to get even more confusing.
Because I saw you there.
I thought maybe they could have been from one of the older worlds. Just somehow we hadn't met.
Are you talking about Asharia? Because I don't remember seeing you there.
No, like an apocalypse situation, like there was infected people and they were killing each other.
As strange as their story sounded, it didn't seem like they were lying. Just that they were confused and possibly a little frightened.
Have you ever seen one of these?
And maybe just trying to find some answers to things.
But specifically
Have-
these ones,
Have you
called Sanity.
specifically seen one of this?
No, I've never seen... You guys are kind of freaking me out.
We're trying to understand how we got here because according to my memory, we were like in an apocalypse world. Suddenly we all wake up in this world separately and I remember everything. She remembers some things and he remembers nothing and we're just here. And you were there
Yeah.
and I'm trying to understand.
If it's any consolidation, I know about as much as you do right now.
Of the 3 of them, David was the one I was the most concerned with. If it wasn't for the other 2 intervening, I'm pretty sure this interrogation would have turned a lot more violent.
The one thing that we arrived on this world with was our sanity flowers. And we all have them and I remember them being from the last world. It's the only thing we took with us.
Out of the 3 of them, Saren was the only one that remembered the Ablocalypse. So it made sense that of the 3, she was the most worked up about it.
So you guys don't remember anything before that?
There was nothing before that. That was our first, like, that's where we met.
And then there was Leon. Of the 3, she was pretty quiet during the interrogation. She remembered little snippets of the Ablocalypse, but not much else.
Like, it was horrible. It was horrible there. Everyone was killing each other and there was the infection and everything and suddenly we end it. We have one last ride on our roller coaster and I just wake up here alone in the forest, covered in bloody clothes, confused about everything. I run into my best friends and they don't recognize me.
When Sigma, Casper, and myself met in Vassant, everyone's memories were altered. But somehow here, only Saren's memories were left untouched. Leon remembered only small snippets of her last world, while David, all of his were replaced with that of another. But then again, were Saren's memories actually okay? Somehow she believed that I was in the Ablocalypse with them. If only I'd started to consider this more at the time. Maybe I could have asked better questions. And maybe we could have figured out more about what was actually going on.
If they don't recognize you, someone must have messed with your guys' memory in the last one.
There's an issue with that, Spen. Because if our memories were messed with, how do I have memories of the city? All I know and all that I can tell you is that I came from the city, got exiled, I landed on an air raft, and now I'm just here.
And then there's also Sigma. In this world, he's half the size he was before, and all of his DNA scars are now gone. I didn't see him at the end of Project Aussie, so it is possible he could have changed himself back there. But that doesn't explain why Casper referred to him as Noma. And when Peaches saw them, he said that Sigma and Epsi, they didn't act like they were siblings. Is it possible that there are other versions of us in different worlds?
We're not here because of you.
No, God, God, no. No, I
Okay.
don't have any of that kind of power.
Okay, Spen.
Yeah.
As someone who knows about as much as you do about this whole Ablocalypse malarkey, you mentioned hopping. Is it possible? Because you're the only one here who we've met at all who's mentioned anything I mean, you're just the only one who we've met at all. Is it possible for two of the same person to exist at the same time-ish?
I don't know. I don't think so. At least that's what I thought at the time. But it's what David said right there that had me start to question all of it and rethink everything from the start. Well, hey, you know, are we near the mountain still? I live on top
Yeah,
of it.
actually, yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair
we're,
enough. Like,
yeah.
it's actually right
We're
here.
inside the mountain.
Okay.
And
I wasn't
it's
sure where you
right
guys
here.
took me. Okay, we're just... Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. You wouldn't happen to have my
Right there.
tools and stuff, would you?
The only thing they returned of mine was the mattock. The rest had apparently been lost while they were carrying me. I don't know if they were telling the truth or not, but compared to the gear that they had on them, my stuff probably just looked like throwaway scrap. With the interrogation over, my only goal now was to learn more about them. And as soon as we stepped outside, there was a strong shift in their atmosphere. But they were still curious about a few things.
Wait,
That
Spen, before we
sounds
get too
good.
sidetracked,
Yeah.
how many other people do you know? Just because, you know, we've talked to you and, well, we didn't
That's
get
it.
too many
Well-
answers, names,
Yeah, tell me more about
potential
this wood.
races, just so, you know, we can try and solve out what's going on between us.
I was in no position to lie to them, and even if I got away with it now, it would come back to bite me later. So I told them about everyone I knew that was out here, and a little extra about Sigma, just in case, because at the time I still hadn't collected my thoughts about everything that had happened.
There's another person from our last world that you need to watch out for. I didn't think he jumped, but he jumped with us. His name's Sigma, and he got into this thing called DNA splicing, and he went power crazy and violent and aggressive.
I probably said more than I needed to, but after that, they were fairly open and friendly about things. I started by inviting them up to the top of TinkerTown Mountain to show them around. I wanted them to believe that I posed no threat, which at that point, I honestly was no threat. All of their gear was made out of materials I'd never seen before, or even heard of. Even if I still had all of my gear, they could take me out in an instant. I did offer them a place to stay, but they turned it down. And strangely enough, after I'd showed them around Tinkertown, they each offered to show me their own. I don't know if they felt bad for kidnapping me, or if they now saw my presence as so insignificant that it didn't matter. Either way, what I learned from visiting their bases set my technological knowledge months ahead of where I previously was, as well as set the stones for where I'd be taking it next. Leontine's base came first, and to travel there, I took Emily's horse. Actually, now that I think about it, I still gotta go back and get it from outside the nether portal. Hopefully Emily hasn't noticed it's missing yet. But it turns out the base I saw my first day here was Leontine's old base, and she even had some clever machinery at play. We toured around, looking at some of what she'd built, and then stepped into the nether portal and saw some even more impressive work. The three of them had built this nether network, giving themselves quick travel between each other's bases. That was very clever of them, and also explains why we hadn't bumped into each other. Our first destination through the nether portal was Leontine's new base. In here we found a factory used to process different items. It was far more advanced and automated than anything I'd seen. Even Peaches was nothing compared to this. I couldn't comprehend how something like this was even possible. That was until I saw her source of power. And with what they called the steam engine, everything made sense. This single device provided far more power than anything I'd ever seen, and apparently, this was just its most basic form. But even more interesting than the steam engine was the basalt mountain just outside her factory. The ground was scarred black, as if all manner of life had been scorched from it, and down at the center of its pit, a wooden walkway led to the entrance of a cave that appeared to go even deeper underground. From what I'd seen underneath my woodshop, as well as the ruins surrounding her base and the basalt mountain, I had to know.
Have you found anything else with it?
Well, the factory was partially there. Managed to repair the factory and, like, managed to repair all the stuff that was over there, but I haven't really got into this part yet. I mean, I'm sure there must have been something hidden or something to find here.
By gondola, we crossed from Leontine's base to the mountain on the other side, and a short trek up that mountain revealed David's home, a clock tower built onto the side of the mountain. He claimed the elevator was broken, so we couldn't go up to see the interior, but he did show the metal rows he sculpted into the edge of the cliff, and spoke of the city he came from, the meritocracy that ruled it, that he had removed his arm, and the exile that followed after replacing it with a mechanical one. I didn't end up seeing Saren's home, but they did take me into the nether once more, where David showed me his nether forge. What he had put together there was incredible. I even learned of his technique to create new materials using blaze blood, something I'd never thought possible. It's still hard to believe how quickly things went from kidnapping to invitations into their own homes, and it made me wonder what else they could be hiding. Since my encounter with the Rollercoast Gang, things have been progressing quickly in TinkerTown. I've been working on a secret underground factory, and I've developed some unique patent-pending technology, allowing me to completely automate my shopping process with the use of a single chest. Seeing the ruins in the pit at the bottom of Leontine's base, I've become overly curious about the mechanisms I've found, and digging out more of it, I now believe my mechanism is also a part of a set of underground ruins. But to continue excavating it, I'm constantly hauling out chunks of earth, and someone's bound to get suspicious eventually. But as I exited the elevator and pondered what I would do to solve that issue, that was when I bumped into a familiar, yet not so familiar, yet still familiar in a not so familiar way face.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Give me one moment. Are you in the business of capitalism?
I mean, I love money.
I have some products that that you might want, because I heard that you had recently had a sort of a pickle of a near-death experience.
I guess word travels around pretty quick when you're kidnapped.
Yes, I heard something like that. So, what I have here, if you look on the front here, I have a totem of undying, which can prevent your death. And I am willing to sell it to you for 20 diamonds.
I have 2 diamonds.
Okay, I guess... Wait, you really don't have more?
No, I don't have any money.
Okay, how about...
Do you like wood?
I have a lot of wood, but I do...
I really started to think I started working on the wrong kind of business.
He ended up selling me the totem for 2 diamonds, and that's when the idea started to hit me. What if the wood shop was more than just a wood shop? Somewhere anyone could buy and sell different things. Because if people were constantly coming and going with all sorts of different resources, it wouldn't be so suspicious if I was shipping resources in and out of the ruins beneath it. Plus, I'm sure I could make a bit of an extra profit running and maintaining the structure that everyone was trading in.
Well, there's actually a better spot to set this up, if you're interested. I've been building a mall, and I've actually got a new patented type of shop system to keep all your items safe. If you look inside this large chest, you can see it's empty, right?
Right.
And for every diamond, you'll get 32 oak logs, right? Try putting a diamond in there.
Okay, I guess I'll give you your diamond back.
Look at that! There's your 32 oak logs!
Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah! You try and get here. Watch this. Watch this. I'll step away. Try putting the other one in.
Okay, sure. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, right? There you go. You got 32 oak logs.
Now, can I have my diamonds back?
I don't know how to get them back.
Can I exchange this for another type of wood then? Because I don't know.
I don't have any other wood shop set up.
I thought you were... You had the benefit of the doubt from me. People told me you were evil. Now I can kind of see why.
Whoa, no. Here. I'll come with me. I'll get you the wood back.
Okay. Well, I want my diamonds back.
We'll see if we have any diamonds.
All right.
On the elevator ride up, I learned that he went by Gnoma, and that he was working with Casper. And somehow, she taught him a little bit of magic. I still didn't know if I believed his story, but he didn't seem like the Enigma. Maybe it was possible that there were other versions of us out there in different worlds. But if I was gonna get to the bottom of this, as well as learn more about Casper and her magic, I was gonna need to be on friendly terms with him. And it all started with getting him his 2 diamonds back.
All right, give me 1 sec here. You'll have to wait outside. This is Melty's house. I'm gonna see if she has any diamonds.
I thought you were getting your own diamonds.
All right, so here's your 2 diamonds back.
Oh, do you want your wood back?
Oh, you can have it. It's fine. I've got infinite of that. I mean, I have a limited supply and quantity.
Wait, so why if you have infinite, why are you?
No, it's a
Limited supply and quantity. Limited supply and quantity.
You guys are lucky that I have it as the price I have because of inflation. Normally, that much wood would be so much more expensive.
So I heard that Sigma is your arch nemesis.
Well, I mean, it's complicated, because to be an arch nemesis, he'd have to be like almost like a rival.
Well, that's what I was told. He was.
But
your
he's
rival.
not really my rival because of just how powerful I am. Right? It's complicated. It's complicated.
Well, yeah, you did kidnap him a bunch of times.
Only once that I can think of.
According to FC, you kidnapped him like 3 times.
Yeah, I don't remember the other 2 times then. I'll be honest with you, it's possible. Look, he was getting into some weird stuff.
We spoke a little bit more before he showed me some of the magic that Casper had taught him. And right before my eyes, he began to levitate off the ground. He wouldn't tell me where she lived, but he did mention that the ender portal near his place was directly connected to the ender portal at her place. So at the very least, I now had a place to start searching. It also turned out that the Totem of Undying that I purchased from him came from another form of magic that Casper had taught him. And on the way to Noma's base, we passed by it on the field. However, he did warn me not to go near it without his permission. I really wanted to check it out, but this was one thing I knew I couldn't. Gnoma had a lot of information, and he seemed willing to share all of it. So I needed to stay on good terms with him. By chance, I asked him if he knew anything about an axolotl. And this is where I struck gold. It seems that Epsy was the one that stopped by the top of the mountain a few weeks ago and took it. And if that's true, that also explains the sign that was left. I figure she must have been looking for Sigma after we jumped, and thought that I did something. And I can only assume that because she also apparently told Gnoma that I had kidnapped Sigma a few times before. All these pieces of the puzzle were finally starting to fit together. But just like the Rollercoaster Gang, Gnoma had made some incredible advancements with the technology found on this world. He'd created some sort of mechanical arm that would pick up and move items across conveyor belts. If I could recreate what he'd done here, it was exciting to think what could be done with it. I did take a huge risk as we entered Epsy's room on our way to the axolotl. I couldn't help myself and I peeked into her storage, only to find an old worn journal. And without thinking, I quickly grabbed it and put it into my pocket. I don't know if Sigma saw me take it, but he seemed to believe me when I told him I was just looking. And then, hidden beneath Epsy's room, was another secret room. And you wouldn't believe me unless you saw it for yourself. But this axolotl seems to hold some sort of power within it.
I can take it back?
Sure. I think you should, because when Epsy stole it... No!
Oh no!
Grab it! Grab it!
Oh, it almost died!
Grab it with the bucket, quick!
I got it!
So, what I was saying, when Epsy took it, God became angry at her, so...
Wait, what?
Well, she started being, like, pulled into the water.
That's weird.
Do you not want the axolotl?
Oh, I have it.
What do you mean you have it? It's still here.
Oh, it's in my bucket.
Your
See, look.
bucket is empty on my screen.
Wait, what? It was in my...
It's over here. It's
I don't
over
see
here.
it.
Quick, grab it. Give me the bucket. Give me the bucket.
What the crap is going on?
There you go.
I had it, but I didn't have it. This axolotl's more powerful than I thought.
I told you, it messes.
Oh my God.
You need to take it back.
With the return of the axolotl and the new discovery of its strange powers, we left his base and went north. On our walk up, I mentioned I'd misplaced my spyglass, and that was when he had told me he'd found another one and would take me to it. But on the way to the spyglass, I wanted to touch base on what he'd brought up to me while we were talking in TinkerTown.
Hey, you mentioned earlier somebody had messed with your orange wool farm. You lost a bunch of the sheep. Do you have any suspicions as to who?
I think it was an Enderman. That an Enderman took one of the blocks and then they escaped.
You sure it wasn't a person?
I don't think so.
Because I've had some orange wool show up in different places.
That definitely wasn't me. If you look over there, there's the caravan on top of a jungle tree.
What? A caravan on top of a jungle tree? That's insane!
You sound very surprised.
Yeah, I've never, well, who would expect to find a van on top of a tree?
Using my extremely advanced tactics of deception, I was able to retrieve the spyglass without any sort of suspicion. I may not have been able to learn much about magic today, But I did learn that the source of this new magic seems to come from Casper and with Sigma's nether portal. I should have no problem finding her. But what I do know is that this is the first time in a very long time that we've received more answers than we've received questions.